truck because I think I'll have a more stable connection here. Let's see if people can figure this out. And while people are trying to figure out where the heck I am, I'm gonna go grab my water. Everything is a mess right now. It's a mess right now. It's a mess right now. Okay, we got some people coming over. I am so sorry. This is a mess. That's what I get for trying to shoot something outside. And when I tried to go outside, it kind of all fell apart. Hopefully, I'm going to give it a sec. I'm going to drink some water while people trickle over. Whew. This has been a trip. Well, I have the right perspective. I should be good to not get disconnected now because I'm back in the truck. That's what I get for trying to be creative and be outside and not like bottled up in the truck. All of my it was like, no. Oh man, this is such a mess. I'm trying to fiddle with some settings right now. Oh man. Woo! Alright guys, you with me again? We got some people back. Well, Corley, you didn't really catch it from the beginning so much as you're catching the reboot, because I'd already started going live, and I don't know how many minutes in, I basically got cut off. It was only I was live for it looks like about 6.5 minutes, and then like, ooh, woo, it all kind of fell apart. But the good thing about me being in the truck is you guys can see Mickey, who loves to lay on the fridge. Mix, how you doing? Did you have an adventure, Mickey? Yeah, he's like, leave me alone. I'm leaving. I was sleeping and you're bothering me. That's why the universe made me come back to the truck, so that you guys could see Mickey, because like I'm only half the team, you know. Mickey's the other half. Oh man. Whew. All right, so let's rewind a little bit. I am at a rest area. I've left Gutted. Gutted ended on the 12th. Wow, that was like 3 days ago. I've really been dragging my butt. But I don't have to rush. I have nowhere to be and no reason to rush there. And I got my whole house with me. So wherever I stop, I'm home. Awesome. Gutted. I'm wearing the Gutted shirts they gave us for free. Arrowhead Water was one of the sponsors. And also I need to do laundry and the shirt was clean. So that's the way it went. The smart people after Gutted went right into town and went to the laundromat, but I kind of didn't want to get caught in that sort of barrage. I even ended up showering in my van. Like I thought about going to do a pay shower, but again, I knew a lot of people were leaving an event and I really didn't want to play fight for the shower at the rec center. I probably wouldn't have fought, but you know, I decided to just go ahead. I showered in my van. I went to the Walmart. I filled up my water, you know, kind of got reset. Once we got out, the road was rough. And I think it was just that, you know, so many vehicles came back and forth. It already wasn't like a graded road. Like it was, I was basically parked in sand and my truck was stuck for about 4 days. And that's just because I made no effort to get out. As soon as I made an effort to get out, I was able to get out. I don't know how many of y'all watch One Adventure at a Time. One ad van, V-A-N, chur at a time. But anyway, awesome couple. They have a adorable little labradoodle named Roodle, and got helped out of the sand due to them. So yeah, they were great. Met a lot of great people, YouTubers and non-YouTubers. As I was saying in the previous live, that I don't know if I'm going to keep. Gutted was basically a competition they were filming for a reality show, and they were building out a van, an RV, and a bus. The bus and the RV did arrive to the location already gutted, so everybody was starting from the same base place: an empty van, an empty RV, and an empty bus. And so they assembled 3 teams. A lot of them were influencers, for lack of a better word, or content creators. It wasn't just YouTube, it was YouTube, Instagrammers, TikTokers, and people who cross, all 3 platforms at the event. I don't know what the mix was of the teams, because I didn't know everybody who was on some of those teams. Some of the people seemed like they said were whatever. Point is, I can't reveal anything about the competition, because as far as the winners and all that, that's going to come down the line when they release all that as sort of a thing. But I can talk about the event itself, sort of people who were outside of those main teams and sort of what that was like. What else? Yeah. Spent a lot of days in sand and the dirt, and there was no keeping sand out of the box truck. But it did great. It got there good. It got, out of there good, except for the part where I was stuck in the sand, and I need to buy me some good treads to get me out the next time. Because basically, there was a point where the sand was really high and soft, and basically my back wheels were really low down in the sand, and there just wasn't enough go to go. And I had a cheap pair of I think they're called treads, those things that you can put under your wheels to give you sort of go. I had a cheap pair that did not work, and so luckily I was helped out. So yeah, that's just me running my mouth, waiting for people to kind of jump over to this live. Glorious Life on Wheels came up. She was amazing. I'm going to say channel name so that you guys can look people up. She was amazing. One of the kindest people I've ever met. I was so happy to meet her and her dog Cuddles. I spent a lot of time hanging out with Bunny from Bunny Place here and Dee from Lady Bug Out. I would right away, the 3 of us kind of connected and bonded and ended up spending a lot of time together. I'm trying to think of who else. Yeah, that's all I can think of right now. Okay, now I've run my mouth. It looks like people have gotten over. People have seen Mickey. Tina X was part of the electrical team when I was at Gutted. There was no electrical team. The teams were assigned to specific vehicles. So whatever vehicle you were assigned to, your whole team was working on that vehicle. There was also this awesome guy named Aaron, who is a van builder, and he was basically available to help people who were at the event with their van. Aaron was awesome, and Aaron also has a box truck. So I actually do have footage of looking at his box truck, and then there was another couple there with a box truck, and I also got to look at their box truck. Because there's so much going on at these events, I don't know how well shot sort of my interiors of their box trucks are, but it was really cool to see not 1 but 2 other box trucks. Both of them were Fords. One was a E350 like mine, and the other one was an E450, and that was Aaron's truck. And they were both really, really cool. And I just love seeing what else. It's nice to see what somebody else does with your exact form factor. It's nice looking at the other vehicles, but it really is when you're like, oh, there's somebody else who has the exact same thing I have. What did they do with it? How is it different from me? How is it the same as me? That was really cool. But yeah, there were no teams of electrical or this or that or other thing. I wasn't on any team. There were 3 teams, and it was like a reality show that each of those teams were assigned to different vehicles, and that team as a group built out those vehicles. And that was just happening at the event, and you could kind of stroll over and look at it as it was happening, and you got to be there for the announcement of the winner, which they will announce when they actually put out their own program. Kimberly Parkinson says, am I done with the build? I would say yes and no. There are projects that I still want to do that I have not done. As far as the actual structure and layout and the main things being in place, yes. I know people say the build is always ongoing, but I do think there's a point where it's like I've done all the things I plan to do, and now I just need to live in it and see what I need to adjust. And some of that has been happening anyway because I've been living in it as I was building it out. Like I was living in here when there were metal walls and no windows. So some of that has been happening anyway, just by the nature of you actually living in your idea. But there are actual things I want to do that I have not done. I plan to do them in gutted, but it was so dirty and sandy. Like because we were in the sand, it just didn't make sense to do certain things, especially since some of those things involve, excuse me. Sorry guys. Forgive me. As I was saying, since some of those things involve like paint and things you don't want to do in a sandy environment, I didn't want to pull that stuff out. There's some electrical rewiring I still need to do. Honestly, I still haven't hooked up my heater, but those are like minor things. They're not really things that make me feel like the build is quote unquote not done. It's just like some final tweaks I want to make to things I already did and things I was planning to do, but at the time I didn't have the space to dedicate my head to that. So once I get resettled, of which there's already a plan, those are kind of the things that are the top priority to work on in an environment where there's not a festival going on. And what I found like is I was so caught up in the event and the festival of it, there wasn't really as much. I did end up doing 2 things on my to-do list, but there really wasn't time or space for me to really focus on my projects or to shoot a tour, which is the big thing I want to do. I want to shoot the tour at this stage and then possibly do things I want to change, still want to do upgrade that are sort of more long-term goals but don't really affect my current livability, if that makes any sense. Boy, did I go on. That was a long answer. Coralie says a whole bunch of people literally fighting for the showers is a funny mental image. Especially if everyone is already naked. It was I know like a lot of people were letting people know there was a rec center and the showers were like, I think $2 to $4. So I'm pretty sure everybody was clothed. Penny Walter says, what are they going to do with the vehicles that are built out? I am not sure. I think I heard something about charity, but I'm going to be honest, the best thing to do is to go to the Gutted website and they basically have more information. I was wondering the same thing, and I don't know that I got an answer from an official person, so I don't want to lie. Gina G says leveling blocks ? I guess they would be useful, but it wouldn't have helped with the sand because honestly I was trying to turn through and I just got stuck. So it wasn't like I was trying to park and I got stuck. I was trying to drive through and I got stuck. And since I was in an area where I could camp, I was like, you know what? Everybody's arriving. It's kind of crazy. I'm safe. The neighbors were really nice. My neighbors were this couple in an RV with a small child. And I was like, okay, you know what? I'm going to stay here until things kind of calm down. And it was a perfect place to be for the first 4 days of the festival. On the evening, it was like during the 5th day, I think. I had somebody help me get out, and then I just parked in a different place where I was like above ground. But leveling blocks wouldn't have really affected it because it wasn't, I mean, I was unlevel, but I wouldn't have been able to fix my situation with the leveling blocks. What I actually needed was like treads. Coralie of Jump With No Fear says Lady Bug Out seems awesome. D is amazing. I freaking love her. Yeah. D is awesome. If you have not seen Lady Bug Out, she has one of the most awesome tiny builds I've ever seen. She's in a tiny Ford Transit Connect, I believe. And it's just amazing what she's done with that small of a space. I couldn't have done it. It's very neat. It's very minimalist. In a really cool way. I really like her build. Yeah. Sadie Louise, thank you for the $5 super chat and the reminder to everyone to hit the like button. It does help the channel. You know, it's really great. Heather Hopper says floor mats can be used to get you out of the sand. Yes, they can. Let's just say I was in enough of a guff. The floor mats wouldn't have helped much. We tried wood. We tried my thin treads. We tried a couple of things that didn't work, and what I really need is the really good ones that are a little bit thicker, especially with those dually wheels in the back. So mats can help. But in this situation, I really needed those like beefy treads. Coralie says, did I see any ideas that made me think, oh man, I wish I had done that? The interesting thing is, I liked, as far as like box truck builds specifically, I like what each of them did with their box truck build, but it still wasn't for me. Like, it was a very good builds, very, very good builds, but they were definitely not for me. If anything, it solidified that I had made the right decisions for my build, and luckily, you know, I've been in 3 other vehicles, so by the time I got this box truck, I had very clear ideas about what I wanted to create and what I wasn't finding, because at one point it was like, is a Class C a possibility? And I was very much in the mindset of Class C or box truck at a certain point, and no, they're just not the greatest for what my personal goals were. I would have spent more time ripping the stuff out than I'd like, and I feel like what I saw in the other 2 box trucks were still very Class C-like. Like, that was the direction they were going in. And I have no regrets. And both of them had showers because, of course, like, box trucks are huge. And I have no regrets about not having a permanent shower. Not at all. I was perfectly fine when I wanted to take a shower, taking out that ever shower. And if I didn't have the ever shower, I'd just wash up at the sink. That's why I have a large sink. And it doesn't steal up my space from me. And mind you, a box truck feels roomy. Like, the 2 box trucks I saw with showers still had more room than the vans I saw with showers. To me, at least that's what it felt like when I was inside of them. The only thing I envy, honestly, is their back doors. But I just didn't have the skill to remove my roll-up door, so that wasn't going to happen. And now that a full build is in here, it may never happen. But I do envy their ability to just, like, have a lockable door on the back. Kathy Isaac said, you look and sound like you had a great time. Thank you. Current Condition says, are you no longer doing theater? If somebody offers me a job, I will. But those are contractual situations. They come up when they come up. And I'm not going to sit still in one space waiting for it to happen if at all. Like, if it comes down the path, great. I'm not making any active efforts. Like, there's a couple of places that I've worked with before who, you know, if they ask me to come work for them, I would. If they're like, hey, we need a refresh on your resume, I would. But, like, I'm not killing myself about it, and nobody's offered me anything worth pursuing. And so, yeah, like, it's not that I've given up on it, but it just doesn't exist at this moment in time. Like, if I get an offer a month from now that sounds like it'd be cool to do, I'd go do it. And always, if I need the money, I'm going to find me a temporary job. Beef up my money and then, like, move on with my life. I will always have temporary jobs. I don't want a permanent one that's going to keep me anywhere. I just don't. That's not something I want or desire. Shannon Corso says, I want to tell you thank you for helping Des for the insurance information. Oh, that's awesome. Yeah, Des contacted me while I was on the way, and she was trying to figure out some stuff about her bus. I didn't know if any of it was going to work. I just kind of threw information at her. And then once I kind of was out of gutted, I checked on her again and found out, you know, everything had kind of worked out the way she needed it to. Karen Brackett, thank you for the reminder to hit the like button. Earl Blackman says, have you ever thought about getting a wrench for your truck since you got stuck? I don't know what you mean by a wrench, honestly. Thank you, Freedom Dove. Traction boards, that's what they're called. She says, yeah, you might want to get some of those traction boards since you like the boondock. Yeah, well, I had cheap ones, and what I found out is they were cheap for a reason. So now I need to get some good ones and figure out where I can store them, but I'm sure I'll figure it out. D. Levy says, your eyebrows are fabulous. Thank you so much. That's sweet. Gina G says, how did Mickey like the sandy environment? Okay, so me and Mickey had our first off-leash trial because my heart was in my throat as I allowed him to have this off-leash trial. I did not film it. But basically, he came out of the box truck. So I had the back door open, and he filtered on out. He jumped down into the sand, he rolled around, he jumped back up, and then he went in the box truck and he was done. Never left the box truck again for the whole event. When people came by to see the box truck, he did usually come out to greet them, and then he kind of went to a corner somewhere. And that was enough for him. He's like, oh, you're in my house? You're going to say hi to me? You're going to give me pets? Okay, now I go away. When I did leave the box truck for a long time, just for his safety, I did close the back door, so he wasn't allowed to free roam then. But I was very happy. We had like a little bit of an off-leash trial, and he stayed right by the box truck. He didn't like go anywhere. There were a couple times he came out to like the little porch area while I had the back lift gate down, and he just kind of sat there. So that was good. I mean, I was scared, but it was a flat environment, and he was under observation, and it was just something I just wanted to see what he would do. Apple Knocker says, I cannot find nothing in New York box truck or Class C. I don't know where you're looking, but I always look multiple places. Look at auctions, look at Facebook Marketplace, look at Craigslist, and it may take a while. I looked at a lot of clunkers before I found this one. And some people would argue this was, you know, not the best choice, because obviously the box is a little imperfect, but I found a lot of nice boxes with terrible engines, and I ended up getting this because it had a great engine and the box needed some TLC, and I was willing to like commit to the long term of that TLC. But just keep looking. Like, you know, sometimes you find things faster than others. Ask yourself how willing you are to look outside of your area and go get it. Like, people go get things out of state if they're really determined for a specific thing. Also, like, I didn't have the door specifically closed on certain things. Like, there was a point where I almost bought a bus. One of the reasons I was going to buy it is because all the seats were already out of it. I don't know if they were scamming me or what, but at the end of the day, it didn't work out. And I feel like it wasn't supposed to work out. I think the bus I was looking at, the only thing wrong with it was it had a busted window. And I was like, well, I was going to delete some windows anyway. And so it ended up not working out, and I ended up not getting that bus. So just look everywhere, you know, be willing, if you're, depending on what your timeline is, like, what's more important to you, your timeline or the distance? Because you can look out of state, you know, just look. Like, because these box trucks specifically are not something you may may not find them on a dealer's lot. Now, you can try U-Haul, you can try Penske. Again, this comes down to your budget and like what you want to do, and like sort of what your distance allowance is and all that other stuff. Karen Brackett says, Dawn, you did an awesome job. Proud of you. Thank you so much. Nancy McIntyre is back. Thank you for finding us. Nancy, thank you for reminding everybody to hit that thumbs up. I got the riches in here already knocking out the trolls. Thank you so much. I never even see the messages because they're gone before I even scroll down. They're like, bam, gone. Patricia says, hi from Tennessee. Do you plan to do any more fitness videos? Yes. When I'm settled enough to get myself back in a routine. I wanted to start back on that on September 1st. Again, I assumed a lot about Gutted that, give me a second. I'm having allergy issues, y'all. And I know they're allergies because I know what allergies are like. What was I talking about? Oh, fitness videos. Let's just say getting to Gutted and leaving Gutted was much more involved than I thought it was going to be. The last time I started, I was in Oregon, I was in Ashland, and honestly, I had nothing else going on. I was very static, and I think to at least establish the routine, because once I established it, I was able to carry it on through a lot of chaos. I needed that settled moment to really concentrate on it and get it back in. So I already have a plan for that, but I don't want to get into it right now. But I have not been good at all, and I'm not going to claim I haven't. I will say it was the good thing about being at Gutted is I was forced to really readapt to like making food for myself, because like I couldn't just go to a fast food place or anything like that. So yeah, I think, you know, that helped a little bit, but I really need to get it all back together, and I'm not there. I got thrown off, and getting back on a horse is sometimes difficult, you know. I hate this. I took my allergy pill. It's kind of kicked in, but I'm still having issues. Lisa Hing says, new here, love your videos. I'm a CDL truck driver, want to do a BoxTruck conversion for retirement. That is awesome. Kimberly Parkinson says, how far would you travel to get a van you want? Everyone I see is 5 hours away. I don't know if that question is for me, because I know we were discussing somebody else. It depends on how much you think is worth it. I think the further away it is, and the more involved it's going to be for you to get to it, the more questions you need to ask. There are services you can pay for where somebody will go out and inspect a vehicle for you. So depending on your budget, if you feel like it's really far away, you could pay for somebody to go inspect it. There are inspection services that you can get online. They will go inspect the vehicle. They will send you photos of it. So yeah, there's things called like I can't even remember, because I was going to use it for one of the box trucks I looked at, and then the whole thing fell through. But yeah, if you look for like vehicle inspections or pre-buy inspection services, sometimes you can pay somebody else to go out there for you, and that kind of stops you from having to go out there. I have known people who have bought vehicles blind. I am not saying that's the smartest thing to do. In fact, I don't think it's smart, but it has worked out for people where they found a good deal. and they straight up, you know, did the whole transaction online and then just went and picked up their vehicle. Again, I'm not saying that is a good thing to do, but people have done it. To me, if the vehicle feels too far away from you to go look at, not to buy it, you should at least price what it would cost to arrange for somebody else to go look at it. And if the person is unwilling to go through that process, maybe it's not the right vehicle to buy. So yeah, and then I would think, depending on your budget, you wouldn't want to do that too much. Like, you want to be really interested in the vehicle where you're like willing to pay somebody else to look at it. Yeah, I mean, like, how far you would go is up to you. For me, I think I drove about 2 hours twice to look at box trucks that I ultimately ended up not buying. And I just kept inching out counties. And I drove a significant distance to get this box truck. I can't remember if it was like 2 or 3 hours, something like that, to get this one. And I knew I was looking for an unusual vehicle. Like, people buy vans all the time, but with a box truck, or even sometimes a bus, or anything that's not your general vehicle that's easy to get at a dealership, sometimes you have to be like open to other sort of avenues to finding what you want. So yeah. SD Gypsy Sailor says Mickey has a wonderful life. Yes, he does. Thank you so much. I try. Earl Blackman says an electric pulling wrench with a cable you could hook around. Oh, I think I know what you're talking about. There was nothing to hook to, so it wouldn't help me in this situation. Like, it was flat. There was nothing to tie to except maybe somebody else's vehicle. Maybe. Things that have to go on the outside of the truck and be mounted present a problem, because it's not something it's something I would need help with. So yeah, that's where the problem lies. It's something I would need help with. Stacy Edmond, thank you for the $25 super chat. I'm sorry it took me a bit of scrolling to get down here. She says, so proud of you and your new home. Great job. Thank you. Freedom Dove says, love me some Whack-A-Troll. I love it too. You keep me from having to stress out trying to block people. Princess Pamela says, I must say thank you to Dawn. You motivated me and I've lost 42 pounds. Thank you, Dawn. That is so beautiful. I'm so happy. Marquita Thomas says, I love when I catch you live. I wish I could have met you in Colorado. I wish you could have too. That would have been awesome. There will be other events and I shall, let you guys know when I'm going. Freedom Dove says, I've used lemonsquad.com to get vehicles inspected. Well worth the money spent. Thank you, Freedom Dove. That was the service that I was trying to remember. It is called Lemon Squad. If you put Lemon Squad in Google or any search browser, they should come up. And yeah, that's the service I was going to use to inspect a vehicle before. It was a whole thing and it ended up falling through and it didn't happen. But that's, paying that, and it is a little more expensive to get commercial vehicles inspected, is still better than dumping your whole savings account on a vehicle that's ultimately going to fall apart on you. So if a vehicle's like really far away and you're really interested in it, you have two choices. One, you can chance it and drive down there to look at it. But I would say if that's the case, ask as many questions as you can before you get there so you can eliminate anything that might make you disinterested. And two, yes, it's going to cost you a little bit, but getting the vehicle inspected by a place like Lemon Squad, there are other options besides Lemon Squad, but I've heard good things about them. Really, can like help, because now you don't physically have to go there. You won't waste your money based on a picture and an owner who may or may not be being honest, and so that can help you. But it's a question of like how flexible in distance are you willing to be. Like, I was slowly inching out further and further away from my zip code when I was looking, because all I cared about was finding the right vehicle. I do think I jumped the gun a little bit, but I'm happy with my box truck because there were things I wanted that I didn't get. I did kind of want one of the boxes that had the door on the side, and I did kind of want the cab over area, but I ended up still ending up with a loft bed, still ending up with what I want. In fact, so I was on a panel at Gutted, and it was about choosing the right vehicle, for your off-grid nomad life experience. And one of the things I said to people is, you're going to have your list of things you want for a perfect vehicle. It may come down to you find the vehicle that hits 3 out of the 5 things that you want. And so you can keep waiting for those 5 out of 5 things, or you go, wait a minute, this 3 out of 5s are my high priorities. I'm going to go ahead and go on it. Or even when making a vehicle size choice, like, people have harped on sort of the MPG of box trucks, and it's terrible. Well, it's not terrible. I've experienced buses that are worse. The estimated MPG of a box truck my size is about 10 miles to the gallon, and that's about what I get. But I also travel slow. Bunny from Bunny Place here, she likes to travel fast. She has I think it's a 220 Nissan MV. She has a small camper van. It can get a bunch of places. Now, it does have some limitations because it's small, but for the way she likes to travel, the speed, the fuel efficiency, all those things are important for how fast she likes to travel. I have figured out I don't like to travel fast. I like to travel a little slower. I would like to stay places longer and really soak them in. And I've discovered that's me. And so for the space and comfort, I was willing to sacrifice on the MPG to stay within the price range of what I could afford. So it's a constant balancing act of what is your highest priority. Do you want a van sooner rather than later? Are you willing to wait until all of your buttons are hit, or at least most of them? Is space more important than fuel efficiency? Is fuel efficiency more important than space? Are you looking for something sort of in the middle, which exists? It's a whole range of constant questions about sort of how long you're willing to wait, how soon you want things to happen, sort of what's your highest priority, starting sooner rather than later. If you're starting sooner rather than later and you already own an SUV, put a camper in the SUV and go now. If you're like, I don't want to leave until I have a standing, fully built out vehicle, then you may be willing to wait because you don't want to be on the road in anything but that. So you have to keep asking yourself, what is your highest priority, and the choice you make on buying a vehicle, what vehicle you get, and what things you're willing to sort of take a hit on, is going to all be a part of that decision. That was a lot of talking. And it all popped off from lemonsquad.com, which I do advise. At a vehicle far away, if you don't have a friend who can go look at it, if you don't have somebody in that area, just pay for an inspector and just do as much as you can to make sure it's worth it before you pay that money. Freedom Dove says, I will never buy a vehicle again without some kind of inspection by a mechanic, which I think is great advice. Michelle Christmas says, we are in Ontario. Ontario is in Canada for my US people. Husband found a truck in Alberta he wanted. Had a friend who lived in Alberta go kick the tires. Bought the truck and had it shipped home. There you go. Freedom Dove says, I got 7 vehicles inspected through Lemon Squad. Saved me tons of money. I'm seeing an okay on Lemon Squad. Princess Pamela, thank you for reminding people to hit that thumbs up to support the channel. I'm seeing some thank yous for the Lemon Squad thing. Joe D'Angelo says, hi, Dawn, from Joe and Pickles. Gutted was awesome. Joe was at Gutted with his bus, and every time I walked past his bus, Pickles said hi to me, which means he just barked at me. But I was like, hi, Pickles. I heard a roof, 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 and I was like, hi, Pickles. It was great meeting you, Joe. You were great. Freedom Dove says, I'm one of those people who want to stay in one place for a week or two. My sub-overlander only gets about 15 miles per gallon. That's still better than the box truck. I have been tracking my MPG, so I now downloaded an app just to make it easier for me. And basically, yeah, I put in my mileage, put in like how many gallons of gas I filled and what it costs. So like I'm getting a pretty good picture on this trip of sort of like what it costs per gallon, and I really like this app. It's called MPG something. I can't go to it because I'm using my phone right now, but I would advise we are in the age where technology can help us in our off-grid life. So I just downloaded an app. I don't have to do any math. Just every time I fill up, I put it in the app. The app lets you indicate if you didn't do a full fill, and then it'll back calculate once you fill up the gas tank. Those are words. Did I actually scroll to the bottom of the chat, or is it just not showing me? Come on, guys. You have to have more to say. What is the gas app called? It's called MPG something. If you go, also I don't know if it's available on Android and iPhone for any of the iPhone users, but honestly, if you look up just look up fuel efficiency app or MPG app, there'll be all kind of options that pop up. And because I used to also, I think, don't make me lie, but I used to use the Gas Buddy app, and I think that is actually one of its features as well. I'm using not Gas Buddy right now, but I think Gas Buddy does that as well. If you put in all of your fills and you make sure to indicate if you missed the fill or you didn't fill up all the way, it will help you calculate your MPG. But yeah, the one I'm using is just a simple one. It doesn't have any extra features, and it's called MPG something. But I can't remember off the top of my brain. I honestly made a blind choice because about halfway to when I left Fontana, I meant to do it before I left Fontana. I was like a few miles into the road, and I was like, oh, let me download an MPG app and see what the actual fuel efficiency of the box truck is. Coralie says, I have an app called Road Trip that does similar to what you described on. It's great, tracks all your vehicle's expenses, and gives you reminders too. I think I downloaded that one as well, because I wanted to see if I liked that one better than the one I downloaded. Angela says, hey Dawn, had to tune into your channel after leaving a WordPress computer class. I need to make myself feel uplifted again after all that intellectual beating, lol. Oh, well, I hope you're feeling uplifted. Sue says, I just jumped in the chat. Are you still in Colorado? Yes, but I probably won't be by tomorrow. Gina, I was not on any teams in Gutted. And I'm glad I wasn't, because I don't think they had as much fun as we did, to be quite honest. I don't think the teams had as much fun as we did. Maybe they did. Maybe they enjoyed each other. But that was kind of just going on, and it was something you could come look at. Now, what I was on was a few panels. Well, I was on one panel. The second panel I was supposed to be on got canceled. Or it ended up not happening. So I was on one of the panels where, like, you got to talk to everybody. I don't think the people on the teams got to talk to anybody. I did talk to Dual X for about, that's not his name, but you guys know his channel, for like 15 minutes. Seemed like a really nice guy. I wish I got more time to talk to him. And I maybe talked to Linnea from Linnea and Aquila for about 5 minutes. But they were just really busy. They were just really busy and involved, and it was sort of the people that outside of that really got to interact and like just enjoy sort of the festival sort of like atmosphere. I'm glad I wasn't on the team. FDM215 says, oh, says nothing. Thank you for the $10 super chat and the super adorable sticker. I love the stickers. Princess Pamela says, I'm checking the apps now, and there are several to choose from. Yeah, just pick one and try it, and if you don't like it, like, pick another one. There's so many. Like, if you just look for an app that's going to calculate your MPG, just put it in the app store, you'll find one. Linda Harms. Sorry, the names are really tiny, so sometimes it's hard to see the letters, and I'm getting old and I can't see, you know. What that name say? But anyway, Linda says, I use Gas Buddy. My granddaughter said it was the best. And so I was correct. You can calculate your MPG through Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy has a bunch of other stuff going on. Like you can find certain gas stations and stuff like that. I personally was meh on the app, so I just wanted something simpler than Gas Buddy that didn't do anything but calculate MPG and track expenses. So I ended up going with another app. But Gas Buddy was great. Like, that's how I kept track of my MPG when I had my my minivan. Terry Newell says, my father and brother told me I needed a man with me to buy my van. My brother bought a vehicle at the same time. Mine absolutely no problems. His lives in the shop. Yeah, you don't need a man because there's plenty of men who could open up the hood and not know what the heck they're looking at. A penis does not grant you, hopefully that doesn't get me demonetized, I said penis. A penis does not grant you any extra knowledge about cars. I met a girl, I didn't meet her, there was a girl at Gutted who bought a bus. She bought a diesel bus. And because she wanted to be, now this is extreme, this is absolutely extreme, you don't have to do this, but because she wanted to make sure that she knew how to take care of her bus, she signed up for mechanic school and basically learned her own engine at mechanic school. I don't know guys that would go that hard. So male does not equal mechanic. Nothing wrong with a male mechanic. Roman is my angel, and he taught me so much about my vehicle, and I simply adore him. So there's nothing wrong with a male mechanic, but male does not equal mechanic at all. Now, because we perceive men as more mechanically inclined, men are more likely to try to get over on women than they will try to get over on men. But it literally means nothing. And like I said, this girl went hardcore. She not only bought a diesel bus, she went and became a diesel mechanic so that she could take care of her bus. It wasn't even about being an actual mechanic. And that was hardcore. Cute old lady says, Dawn can't stay, but so good to see you, Mickey, especially. We'll read the comments later. Thank you, cute old lady, for stopping by. Hope you hit that thumbs up button. Rob Yeats says, do you plan to visit Bus Town soon? I hope so. It's definitely in the plans. Unapologetically Me says, how do you find all of the events that you go to? I casually hear about them. But like if you hear somebody talking about events, you can just usually type it in the description. In the case of Gutted, I was emailed about it, so they came to me. But I've heard about other things like Schoolie Palooza, which I haven't been to, but I would love to go to at some point. Descendo and Ben, RTR. It's just sort of things that are in the language of people that you're hanging out with, and so like then you can just, you know, ask more questions and find out about it. There are websites, like there's a website, I believe it's called Tiny House Fest, which lists a lot of events, but it's just personal research, hearing it from like the community, stuff like that. Excuse me, allergies. Luckily, I bought a whole big box of tissues the last time I was in the Wally Walmart. Angela H says, I love Dual X. He's fabulous. So much talent. I agree. So I'm seeing a couple other apps right here. One of them is MPG Tracker, which I think is the one that I'm using. I think MPG Tracker is the one I'm using because it's really simple. It's just numbers. It's not like finding gas stations and all that extra stuff, which is what you can get with Gas Buddy. Gas Buddy is really good for that. If you're trying to find the best cost for gas, Gas Buddy can help with that. I find, because I have a bigger truck, sometimes I'm willing to pay a little more just to not fight with people at the pump. So a lot of times I'm looking for enough space to easily pull in. Now, mind you, their truck's way bigger than me, but for my personal comfort level, sometimes I'll pay like a little bit more a gallon just to not be navigating between too many extra vehicles. Janice says she uses an app called Fuelly. For people who aren't looking in the comments, it's spelled Fuelly. So right now we have 3 recommendations for tracking your MPG. It's MPG Tracker, Gas Buddy, and Fuelly. I don't know if all of these are available on both Android and iPhone, but like look them up in your app store, experiment a little bit since people seem to be interested in that. Princess Pamela said Dawn said the P word. Angela says, check your Cash App. Darn it, I can't because I'm on my phone. Well, thank you, Angela, for whatever came through on Cash App. Let me see. Nope, it hasn't shown up yet. All right. Well, I'm going to thank you anyway. And it might just be because my signal's weird right now. Freedom Dove says, some females are great mechanics. Exactly. Lone Peddler says, that's great info. I have an 85. Whoa, 85. E350, and I don't know the MPG. Yeah, definitely download one of those apps. It's really easy. What I find is sometimes if I'm in a rush, I forget to enter it in the app. But most of the apps allow you to say that you missed the fill up. So just so your MPG doesn't get screwed up, just make sure that you use all of the stuff correctly, or your calculations might be off. I'm pretty sure I threw mine off once when I was leaving Fontana and I was headed through Las Vegas. But it balanced right back out to what I expected, so I wasn't really that worried about it. Freedom Dove says, Roman is the best. Yes, he is. A lot of people were thanking me for helping out Dez. It was no problem. I mean, like, I feel like that's the best thing we can do in this community is help each other out. So, like, it was no problem. I wish I had been more available, but I was right at the point where I was, like, losing a lot of internet connectivity. Princess Pamela says, I recently changed my blower motor on my 2000 Ford Econoline E350. You are a rock star. Miss Joy says, hi, Dawn. I joined late. Hope your trip was fun. I'll have to rewatch later, but joined as soon as you said penis. I was like, what about penises? Yeah, penises don't make you a good mechanic. But there are people with penises who are great mechanics. Granny Peacock says, I took a night school auto shop class when I got my first car. Of course, cars were simpler then. Still, you are a bad... That's a rock star move. And it's just being proactive. That's why, like, while I was at a shop, it wasn't going hardcore and taking a full class on it. But while I learned better from other people than I learned from a book. And, a little bit better than I learned from a video. Because sometimes when people are covering a video, they're covering a specific thing with an assumption of back knowledge that feeds into that specific thing. So sometimes, depending on the way they deliver the information, it can be confusing. So the good thing about a live person being there and being able to talk to them is if you do hit a confusing point, there is somebody there to clarify for you. in a way, I also found out that I know more than I actually think I know. Like, there's knowledge I've gathered that I didn't realize I had. So it was a really good experience, just, you know, being with Roman and, like, learning a little bit of things I didn't know, and learning how much I should trust what I do know. Freedom Dove says, oh, okay, what is Bus Town? I'm pretty sure they're talking about Schooliana. We're up in Oregon. Angela H says, I've always been on my own, mechanic, plumber, garbage man, etc. Out of necessity. I've always been better at it than the men who were around me. Just saying, I can read a book and learn anything. Freedom Dove says, watch out for fake price listings on Gas Buddy. I've heard some people go in and falsify the prices. Oh, wow, to bait people to their station. I actually did experience that, and I thought it was just that, because they do change prices day to day, but I didn't realize they were intentionally baiting people. And that's why I just stopped, like, going out of my way for, like, Gas Buddy stations, because sometimes, yeah, the price on the app didn't match the price at the actual gas station. And like I said, gas station prices do change. They go up, they go down, etc. But I didn't know there was actual baiting. But sometimes I went way out of my way and it wasn't worth it. Now, there were times it was worth it. So I've been kind of iffy about Gas Buddy. Yeah. Earl Blackman asks, do you have, I think you mean locking, not looking, gas cap on your truck? Yes. It came with a key lock for my gas cap. Janice asks, has there been a Mickey sighting? Let's see. Here he is. He's on the fridge. He gets annoyed when I bother him. Hi, Mickey. Hi, buddy. Yes, hi, baby. Hi, baby. How are you? You're like, I was fine till you bothered me. I was totally fine till you bothered me. Victoria Hinton that says hello from Central California. Victoria asks, how's Colorado? Colorado's gorgeous. I love Colorado. Grandma Kelly says, I've forgotten how you enter your box truck through the driver's door. So, like, I've been entering the box truck the same way since I bought it. I go through the driver's door, and then there's a pass-through between the box and the cab. I don't have any other real entrance. Thank you, Corley. There hasn't been a tour yet. Princess Pamela says he's gotten so big. Everybody says that when they see Mickey. They're like, oh, wow, he got big. Because they remember him being this little tiny kitten. Sometimes I look at Mickey and I'm like, where did my kitten go? Where did my kitten go? And he just stares at me like, I'm right here, crazy woman. Angela H says, your hair is really growing, Dawn. It's so pretty. Thank you so much. Alright, so this chat, which has been successful, has been going on for almost an hour. So as we know, or maybe we don't know, I always try to wrap it up around the hour mark. And thank goodness I didn't get disconnected again, unlike the first one. So, are there any, like, other questions I can answer or talk about or anything like that before I kind of wrap it up for the evening and tuck myself into bed before I have to do more driving tomorrow? I also need to get some editing done so you guys can see some of the footage from Book Gutted. Some of, did I mention here that there were, good Lord, truck. I don't know if you guys can hear it, but there's a very loud truck passing behind me right now, still going. gone. Thank you. I did get to look at 2 other box trucks that were at Gutted. There was this couple. They were selling like stickers and jewelry and stuff like that with their friend. And I bought a necklace actually, but it's hanging on my front window right now. But they had a box truck, and there's this other guy with a box truck, and I got to go in both those box trucks, and luckily I had my camera with me at the time. There was also a trailer, a self-built trailer that was really impressive. I did not have my camera with me when I went to see theirs. But I did get to film some really cool stuff, and so I need to put that together. So I need to just stop and edit. Alright, let me see. Earl Blackman asks, do I have a membership at Sam's or Costco to get gas? I do not, because I am very rarely to never at Sam's or Costco. Wait, I had a Costco card. I just don't know if my membership is still active, to be quite honest. I use Safeway a lot. I am at Safeway supermarket a lot. So when I see their fuel stations, I use them. I also found out my Safeway card is works at Chevron. So Chevron has an agreement with Safeway, and so I'll use that a lot, and I get gas discounts all the time. The thing about like Costco is like it's all about bulk, and bulk stuff just gets in my way. So buying in bulk isn't really a thing, even though Costco sells a lot of the cool stuff. It's good to have, but I just don't find myself using Costco a lot. I am not headed straight back to the Bay Area, and you'll find out more soon. Janice asks, is your friend who is selling the van moving on from Vanlife? She has actually been back in an apartment for a while. It's actually my friend Cora, and she bought that van darn near brand new. I think she wants to get something smaller that she can use for trips. I don't want to speak too much for her because I'm not her. And so like she doesn't really feel like she needs a huge van for the type of traveling she likes to do when she does travel, because she does have an apartment. And I think like that's more her style, is to have the apartment and then, you know, have something she could like go to an event in and be outdoors and sleep in it, but it doesn't need to be like a full van. It can be something smaller, which is what I think she's figured out. So she hasn't been full-time for quite a while, actually. I mean, depending on what you think a while is. Angela says, what's your single biggest tip for getting out on the road to becoming a nomad ASAP? If you want to be a nomad sooner rather than later, you should probably ask yourself, do I have anything I can already use? It's nice to want to wait for the perfect vehicle and the perfect build, but those things take time, to be quite honest. If you want to do it sooner rather than later, you might just need to jump with what you have. I have met so many nomads who started out not being able to travel. The first thing they did was just move into a vehicle. They kept their job that they have, but that money wasn't going to rent, and they were willing to make that sacrifice in order to begin the transition, you know, away. Now, other people are like, I want to be comfortable until my vehicle is built, and so, you know, they hold on to that apartment while they're searching for a vehicle. Now, that's going to give you a lot of, like, heavier upfront costs while you're doing both, but it does give you more time and space, and it all depends on your budget. Like, what is your budget? What do you already have? Like, if you want to get into being an RVer, because there is something a little bit different about being an RVer, do you have a pickup truck or something that can tow, a small towable? Now, if you're like, I want to have that whole city life thing and I want to have the van, then, like, you know, are you willing to start in your car? I mean, look at Des, the hobo traveling nurse. Yes, she has a home base, but the first thing she did was kind of camperize her car and live out of it, and she has so many videos on her channel about that, and she was still doing her regular job as a nurse. but she was willing to build out her car and live that experience in the car, and now she's building out the bus. So sometimes, like, ask yourself, what do you already have that you can use to start those steps? And then start exploring it, you know? Be willing to make yourself uncomfortable for the bigger thing that you want, is my biggest piece of advice. Earl Leah says, can we give you our Safeway points to use for gas? I don't know. I don't know if you can trade Safeway points. Freedom Dove says, I'm thankful that I had the time to pick out the rig I wanted and to get it built out. There you go. And you have, like, created the space that works for you. Like, you've asked all the questions, and I don't know how many of you have peeked over at Freedom Dove's channel and some of her videos. Like, I really feel like you're like, I'm going to test this thing out, you know, in my space, in my, you know, home base that I have, see how it works, and, like, be able to transition that to the rig that you've committed to. And, like, I'm really impressed with, like, how you're approaching that transition. And there's no right way to do it. You have the Chrome Valdezes who go and build a bed and start traveling and build out as they go, and you have the people who, like, do a full build out before they go out on the road, and you have people who do a test vehicle before they do their final vehicle. And the only right way to do it is to just go ahead and do it without overthinking the steps. Now, don't be stupid, but, you know, don't overthink the steps. Just, like, decide on a step. If that's buying a vehicle or, like, going camping in the vehicle you have. I mean, there was another guy, I can't remember his name, but he camperized his car. He knew he couldn't afford a van, but there was goals he wanted to meet before his next birthday. And so he was willing to use what he already had. And that was more important to him than, you know, an extensive build or waiting for the right vehicle. And so, yeah. I think that's all I have to say on that. So I'm going to wrap this up for the night. I am going to try to find a way to get some editing done. FDM215 says, pro tip, don't be stupid. Coralie says, my Prius is a great micro camper. I keep trying to wrap this up and I'm reading like such good comments. Vanlife Short says, I plan on living out of my Prius to start out. I'll see how it goes. LOL. That is a great thing to do though. Like just car camp. And you'll see like Bunny plays here, who I've also mentioned, who was somebody I hung out with a lot at Gutted. Like, she, I think, camped in a car and a tent for, I think, around like 3 years before she bought her micro van that she has her mini camper in now. So, yeah. People just aren't going to let me wrap this up. TB Phoenix says, hey, Dawn, I'm looking to do a trip next year out west coming from the Midwest. How much time do you think I should allow to drive to the West Coast starting from San Diego? I want to answer this question because there was a woman at Gutted who asked, like, what to do about driving burnout. Because, like, she would have a point that she wanted to get to, and she would keep driving until she got there. What kind of driver are you now? Like, are you just like, I want to get there, and like, that's who I am, like, stopping annoys me? Or are you the type of person who's like, I don't care if I stop like 20 times on the way there, or are you somewhere in the middle? I am the type of person where I don't like to drive more than an hour and a half. I might drive an hour and a half and then stay still for 4 hours. And then drive an hour and a half. I also try to avoid driving at night. And I would tell everyone, if you know you were going to hit a back road, do whatever you can to never find yourself trying to navigate to a back road camping site in the dark. Now, if you're on main roads where there's some decent amount of visibility, fine, drive at night. But I would say never go, like, find a place to stop before you get there. So this is not answering your question because you're like, how much time to allow? What I would do is go ahead and map your trip. Then ask yourself honestly, how long do I want to drive? And then either find places you want to stop in between point A and B and like intentionally fill those in, or say like for me, I'm like at max, sometimes I've pushed it 2 hours. At max, after an hour and a half, I'm going to take the first opportunity to stop, even if it's a truck stop. And I may just sit there for a while and just stop driving and then start driving again. I may, you know, jump into the back and like have a snack. I may watch a YouTube video if I have like connection, and then I will start driving again. But I insist on that break for myself, where I know other people who will just push through as many hours as they can get during daylight, rest at night, and then push another, you know, as many hours as they can till daylight. So map the trip and make a decision. What kind of driver are you? What are you motivated by? I would not go down any back roads at night. I would try to avoid that as much as possible. And if you want to sightsee during the trip, like if that is a goal for you, maybe just kind of look up some stuff. That doesn't mean you're not open to stuff that's going to distract you along the way, but maybe just try to find some stuff in the middle between point A and B if that's what you're looking for out your trip. If not, just make it a goal to stop at a rest stop or a truck stop or some place at a certain number of intervals that fit with your driving style. A lot of people would hate my driving style. That's what I like about driving alone. Nobody needs to get frustrated by my driving style. I like the stopping. And it doesn't even have to be to sightsee. It could just be to stop. I was supposed to be wrapping this up, and then I went on that whole thing. Janice Williams, though, says allow at least 3 weeks from California to Vancouver. Freedom Dove also hates driving at night. Princess Pamela says, I'm too old to see the road at night. I'm getting in the same department. I'm like, my eyesight is starting to get challenged, and I'd rather drive in the daylight where I can see everything. It's getting darker in here, but okay. I guess the sun's going down. I don't know. I'm crazy. Alright, I'm actually going to wrap this up, guys. Thank you for talking to me. I'm going to start trying to get the edited videos out this week, but just know that I am still in transit. And I will talk more about sort of my goals of where I'm going when I get there. I know that's annoying. You guys hate when I do that. But there's some specific goals I want to meet. About one, finishing the build series, because the last thing I did in the BoxTruck build was the installation. I do have the other videos about the rest of the build. They're just not edited. They are raw footage that needs to be turned into a video that I can actually post on YouTube. And by the time Gutted came up, you know, Gutted happened now, so it's not like I could push off that video till later. So I really want to do the Gutted stuff first and then kind of circle back to the build and get through those videos. But I sort of need to not be like sort of in this driving process that I'm in right now to really like focus on those build videos. But I am going to find a place to kind of edit together some of the Gutted stuff, because I'm excited to show you guys that. The first year of Gutted, and let us all hope that it happens again next year. I would love to, because I think like they have a good, it's always good to have another Nomad event. As far as I'm concerned, there can never be too many. Alright, see you in the next video. I'm really leaving now. I swear, guys. I'm not going to get distracted by any comments or anything